It's time for change to move into the real work of the universe. And it's time to understand that we use the matter state to reach the level of understanding of the soul of the man. Now you understand maybe why the Creator has sent His messengers in the name of whatever you have had. Is that they bring the ears, that it can be used when the time of the Messiah comes. They can teach the soul and the message, not to oppose. But by them understanding through those who have become Messiahs, to give from their souls to these to elevate, the job is made easy. The school is there and the students are devotedly there. Then there won't be any fight between what they call the Muslims and the Christians. The lamb and the lion will eat and sleep in the same nest. The Christians and the Muslims will sleep and pray in the mosque and in the same church in the name of their souls, not in the name of religion that is used to create so much conflict for the benefit of those who were the hyperactive children. The time has come, the time of change is here. And as I said, my wish is my command. If it's your wish to see peace, path of peace is laid very clearly. It's the soul of the collective awareness. By giving will create that position of change. No other thing. There is no pen in the soul of the man. And I'm sure once you go into the universal community, you will never see anything written but the balance of the fields of the soul of the existence. Try to be humble enough not to become arrogant in the power that you have understood and you possess. Otherwise, you'll fall in the same path of the church and the mosque. This is what we promised, and this is what we have delivered. We have to understand the operation of the soul, and we have to understand the soul of the man is a star in the cosmos of the universe. If we compare the soul of the man and many of us, 7 billion in one collection, Earth is like a galaxy with so many stars. When we look in the depth of the universe, we see galaxies with hundreds of millions of stars in it. So is the planet Earth. It carries 7 billion beautiful stars, which are the soul of the man. Carries with it soul of so many trillions of animals, plants, and everything else. So if you look, when someone who does not see the physicality of the earth and its content, what do they see? They see a galaxy with so many beautiful lights shining, each one according to their strength, each one according to their position. An infant has a beautiful soul, so has the old man. To those who do not see the physical dimension of this planet, but they see the strength of the field, we are clusters of stars. The human race, every single soul, no one from a distance sees, that's the soul of a fisherman, that's the soul of the cosmologist, that's the soul of the president. They all shine irrespective of the physicality. This is the magic. This is what the new science has to bring to man. When we look through our soul, we see nothing but we star in the other souls. And this is the break. This is the understanding. This is what all these teachings are about. Coming to mature to the next level, to understand in the deep space, the universe is the oyster for those souls who serve. Then man is ready to go into space. Then man is ready to become part of the universal community which has been promised. I never promised you heaven. I always promised you the elevation of the man to join the family. And now you have the key. It's you who has to open the door to understand, if I can raise the soul of these people or millions of other souls, that the physical life on this planet changes, then I'm worthy to be part of the universal community. To be there to serve, to expand. To be there to be part, that in the cycle of life of universe, I become, in being part, I become part of the totality. When man reaches that point, a new dimension in the strength of the soul of the man will appear, which is beyond imagination of understanding of the physical life. It's the gate to the opening of the new life, in a new dimension, which is beyond imagination of what you might call a new beginning, a new cycle, which that cycle carries with itself the origin of the creation of life in the universe and in the universe. It's the elevation of the soul to serve become the key, not a throne of the physical life. The time is right. The time has come for the man to go through this process.
Welcome everyone to the 80th One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace. It's Tuesday, June 11th, 2019. This is a broadcast from the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, part of the Public Education in English. And my name's Rick Crammond, along with Flint Mulhausen today as hosts, and with our presenter, Carolina Keshe. We will investigate today's workshop. I think Carolina has been waiting there, ready to go. We're starting a little bit late today. Sorry about that, but it should be no problem. Carolina, are you ready to go?
Yes, good morning, Rick and Flint and knowledge seekers. Good afternoon, good evening, depending in which cycle you are. And it's beautiful weather. Spring has kick-started, it's warm. I hope you all enjoy the new change of the new season. It's It's refreshing. The smell, the flowers, the cutting of the grasses, which is taking place, that gives that aroma to the air. And then you, out of nowhere, you can pick up a waft of a very scented, sweet smell, which means there are certain trees or flowers releasing their beauty for the honeys, for the bees, I mean. Pardon. I have a lot of bees around the house, so I really enjoy seeing them coming and testing. It's amazing when you stand on the side to observe how they pick their flowers and which ones can give them something and which ones they flatly refuse because there is no honey there for them. It's amazing how they go from one thing to another to collect what they need. I have put the Gans waters out, and so far I have not seen them going for it. So it means that they have plenty to feed on, so they're not starving. Is there anything new from anyone, anywhere on the different side of this planet that would like to share some beautiful news or what you have observed with this coming in of the springtime? Anybody there?
I'll just remind our attendees here that they can put their hand up and we can allow you to speak or promote you to panelists, whichever is required.
It's going to be a slow start.
It usually is, I guess. And we're all the way up to 80 here, 80 of these particular productions. That's another milestone.
Say that again, Rick.
We're up to number 80 of these One Nation, One Planet, One Race workshops. So it's a bit of a milestone, you could say.
80, an infinity looked.
Ah, yes, right.
Yeah, 8 is an infinity, which makes the connection. Sorry. 80, my God. That starts counting, huh? These numbers.
Yeah. And strangely enough, the Knowledge Seekers workshops are now up to 280. So this week is a coincidence where we have the 80th and the 280th both in the same week.
That is nice. Yeah, we just keep on going. We are sharing and we are bringing different parts of knowledge and go back to what we didn't understand and reshare it again, which is nice because it has to be able to be open for questions as well as just not sharing knowledge, but improving conditions where we can. I bumped into a post on Facebook from a knowledge seeker. His little girl fell from the second storage, how do you call it, etage?
Yeah, second story.
Of the building onto the first floor. She was quite badly She was quite badly bruised. She fell on her face. And
yes, I saw that.
He's explaining how he has used the plasma patches and the pain pads, and that the doctors are surprised after 1 week how she has changed after such a badly bruising and injuries. So it will be very nice to add this to the testimonials. I kept a link from it, so I'm going to pass it on to, or Flint has it as well, I don't know. But I can send it through if you don't have it. It is, it's beautiful. I had another post which came to my attention from Tom Salas. His little dog has caught the stamper, which is the parvovirus. And I give him the whole explanation. But then I said it has something to do with the emotion. He said, yeah, I am working away from, and I don't have that much contact with the dog. I said, if you can, bring it home. And because the dog must have attached himself to Tom. I said, it's an emotional disturbance, and the dog can only show it that he doesn't want to carry on by going this sick. I said, you take him under your wings if you can, although you're working. I said, and explain to him, I said, the dog will pull out, because that was the same emotional state with the puppies which I had in Ghana, and especially also with Beauty, because they were pulled off the mom when they were 4 weeks old. And then they had to travel from Nigeria to all the way to Ghana, which is not so comfortable, because the ones which are transporting these kind of dogs, to them it's an animal. It's not like us that we look after them like a little baby. So the stress goes beyond, and the dog just, his immune system just goes down. So I hope that in the next few days Tom can report back that the dog is pulling out, because usually you put a dog like this in the hands of a vet, it doesn't pull through, because they don't look at the emotional factor which is missing, the missing link for that animal to pull through. I pulled all of them through, because from every single one, I went and asked, or I found the source of the separation from the one they attached themselves to as their mother or caretaker. So the cutting off of that kind of emotional link puts them in that kind of position. So let's hope we get some nice news about that. Does anybody have any news worldwide that we can work on, or that you want to share with us?
Can I be heard?
Yes, and you are?
My name is Dean from California, United States of America, Milky Way Galaxy. I just want to let you know it's going to be 104 here today. I have fruit that I'm picking, and the beautiful eggplant that I've had for 3 years. I've already given away about $20 worth of fruit if you're going to buy it in the, what do you call that? The grocery store. And I just wanted to, you thought it might be a slow start. Well, this may be the slowest start of all. I'm going to go out and go work in the garden and the trees. And I just wanted to say peace be with you all. And it'll be hot today, but I'm going to be working. And with that, I just want to thank everybody for being here. Peace be with you.
Thank you, Dean. Anybody else wants to share? Anyone from the council members?
Yes, hi, I am Ursula. I'm Spanish council member. and I'm
Can you
living.
come closer to the microphone, please?
Yes,
Yes,
thank you.
I know it's not very. I have a problem, but I will fix it because I have had much echo, and now they called me Heidi, you know, and you know the echo from the Switzerland mountains. So a little bit German. So I'm in France. Are you hearing me?
It's a bit low, but we
Oh, I'm
can hear
sorry. I
you.
will fix it. I will call somebody. Wait a minute. I can take you later. Yes, and you can share on the Oasis Provence, so you can follow our work.
We can hear you quite clearly there now, I think. Is everybody here okay?
I'm very
I
close,
can hear.
but I can show you
Okay.
on the page. It's an interactive page. Um, Oasis Provence. I'm applying all what I learned about plasma science, of course, and my 30 years autonomous studying. I'm also naturopath. So I'm applying now in 7,200 square meters. Uh, there was here many persons who helped me to start this oasis from Romania and from Spain and Galicia and Mallorca, and now I'm here. I'm now working on my farm, oasis, and now with locals also. And this is the the next step um, to teach plasma science and peace. Um, I find that here the people are very excited with festivities and wine drinking and drink much alcohol and all this. Okay, they are young, some of them, and all also those who are not so young, but they feel very young and with energy, very agitated sometimes. So I need here now, and I hope to have somebody, knowledge seekers, coming here to help me to establish a little bit this plasma science, because I'm doing it on my own with my inside work. The house is big, and there are many places to make stockage with fruits and vegetables and dry them and make a milkshake and smoothies and all this, but need to be now arranged otherwise. So that everybody can find himself. And many friends of mine, I'm calling them back, and they will come here to have a holiday. And you know, some of them are desperate housewives in my age, and some of them are now alone. So I'm 60, so I am not another category maybe of young young people, yes, the new and young people. But here they are all very old. With 80, it's a number, yes. With 80 here in France, you should die. So you know the story. So I'm trading now with people who are in this kind of thinking, and the thing is very very important. Yes, what you think you create, and we think that we have a cancer and we should die. Okay, you will die. So I saw a video just before, and it's exactly that from Azar on his web page. Facebook page I love very much, and saw another one also, an Argentinian who I'm of his. Okay, he did his work. He was very active at the beginning in the foundation, and then he make his experiences. He's Argentine, so I know who he lives. I know what he did. Okay, he is one, and there are other one also, all Keshe Foundation students who doing now their own work. Okay, they can do. Everything is free. We are free ourselves. We are now with ourselves in our sometimes solitude also, and it's fun because we are not alone. Yes, we are connected all together, so we are working always together. This is my feeling here. I'm here in Vaucluse 2 months. In Jonquière I have been 6 months before in another house, but it was close to a central nuclear and all this, not very good ambience. So okay, I'm good here. I feel good in France. I have three boys. Some of you know my story, but maybe some not. So I will remain in France. My life is here. I feel Argentine. I feel Spanish, of course, because you are what you are. You are your history, your consciousness, your parents, a little bit of your mother, a little bit from your father, a little bit from everything around you, from children's. Then I got three children. They are now young adults. So okay, they learned very much about also one of him. The first time remembered me. He was in Australia. Mommy, there is the Keshe Foundation making a workshop on Zoom from Rome. Was the first time. So I did, wow. He insists 3 times so that I come in because he know that I was searching before about him also. So wow, he comes now to Rome. It was an experience. I'm I'm explaining you what I lived with Keshe Foundation. So you can all make it much more quicker as me, but I need 4 years to create now my oasis. It's not mine. I only the rental of this house. Yes, this is mine, my responsibility. But the oasis is for the foundation. I mean, for the knowledge seekers, inside, outside, all those who are looking for a better life to do something. And for me, the Keshe Foundation has been the the starter of the new, really the space where I belong to, and I know it, and we all know it, that we belong to this. So maybe some not, maybe some just learn. And when I receive guests as I have now, McDonald's, drinking, smoking, oof. Okay, we must adapt. This is the real life of the place where I live, and so much of you also, because in Europe is you know, it's not very easy always, yes, because they are a little bit ignorant about nature. So it's the only way to plug them in nature. For me, was to create an oasis. I hope and I wish and I know I will do something here, but it depends to all of us. It's not only my oasis. I feel that we are working for one oasis in the world oasis. So each one needs to do his one and then we put them together. Hope so. It's my wish. One oasis. Could be a wish, yes. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you, Ursula. That's a very nice wish. Does anyone have any questions or comments on Ursula's Oasis Provence? There's the link in the chat here in the Zoom, and I also posted it in the live stream. Maybe that could be picked up and put in YouTube as well, and people can have a look at the Facebook site and decide whether they would like to participate or at least keep an eye on what Ursula's doing. Some lovely work being done there. Okay. Are you there, Caroline? Huh?
Yes, sure I am. Thank you, Ursula, for sharing. Pete, do you have any news regarding your wish? Have you noticed any changes? Oh, I wanted to share something. Oh, yes, for Peggy. Haha. I think it came from Peggy. Just 1 second, I need to edit it a little bit because I know we are.
Uh-oh, what did I send you?
It's not what you sent. Rick, I'm gonna send it to you in Telegram. If you can pick it up, please, because you need to see if everything can be there or not. I already cleaned it up quite a bit. It's there now. Can you pick it up? Because I don't know if there is one thing which is in there, which I don't know if you can show or not. I'm playing safe. Are you there, Rick?
Oh, yeah, sorry, my microphone was off. Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll have to see what that site is and where the picture came from and so on.
It was shared on Facebook. I can just show the picture on its own and clear all the information away from it.
But where did the picture come from is the problem, because we have to attribute where the picture came from.
Just 1 second. Oh, I already adjusted it. It was put on Facebook.
I know, but that doesn't mean that we can broadcast the picture just because someone put it on Facebook, because all kinds of people are doing copyright issues on Facebook, and it'll catch up to them eventually. That's the problem.
Okay, okay. The news is that a man wants to buy an old written off cruise ship, and he wants to convert it into small homes for homeless people.
There's the houseboat. That's beautiful. I love it. That's perfect.
On steroids, yeah. Look at okay. It'd be good to.
I can send you
a generic picture of a cruise boat. Basically, that would probably be best. But if we can.
That's so awesome. That's so exciting.
Yeah, I straight away thought about you because this was one of your wishes. I sent it to you in Messenger to you, but I cleared quite a lot from it.
Okay, here I've got a. Here's a generic picture from Wikipedia that we can use. So let me get that up. Okay, I'll just share that, and then we'll have something that we can refer to when we talk about this.
And in the meantime, I received a notice from Tom Salas that the doggy is picking up. Her name is Luna, so she's doing well. She still has her ups and downs, but seems to be holding on. And I asked him more information about Dominica. He says it's in a very slow state of recovery, but is building back again. Tourism is picking up and slowly the people are adjusting back into normality. I believe there is still a lot of trauma which gets triggered by any storm, and they are in hurricane season again now. So the people get very nervous at this time of the year. So I wanted to share this. Yeah. Well, the one I have looks a little bit rusty because it's is no longer to go as a cruise ship. I think it's gone beyond expenses to repair it, to go back as a line. But the guy is showing a lot of interest to convert the whole ship into a permanent home for homeless people. So that was the wish that came from Peggy last week. It got lost in, I think it was in my private class. And I said, wow, there you have, it's already working so fast.
Yeah, yeah. And I think we talked also about converting military ships to places for the homeless as well. So that would be another aspect of that. Now, what I see in part of the news today in today's world in relation to these cruise ships is that soon they're going to be banned because of their exhaust emissions, because the ports where they go into are not happy about them running their big diesel engines and causing a lot of air pollution, which has now been linked directly to health effects. And since there is a direct linkage now, each one of these cruise ships will be responsible for the health effects due to their exhaust. And each of these ships is equivalent to roughly somewhere around 10 million cars air pollution. So it's major right now, and they're in a lot of pressure. And they have new ships that are coming out that will be electric. And they will replace these ships, and they're going to have to do something with them. They either have to totally scrap a lot of these quite new ships, or they'll have to convert them into, in a way, mobile homes for people. Or if not temporary, then why not even permanent homes? It would be a whole community. I mean, you're talking about, what, 1,000 people or 2,000 people, something like that, that can be housed in such a place.
How beautiful is that for times of disaster needs during hurricanes or typhoons or rising waters, to have ships that are available to do that. You know, maybe not necessarily high seas, you know, like these are large crafts, but this is fantastic, Carolina. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's quite a concept, actually.
When I go cruising around, I bump into very strange things, and then I share them with you. Or it's somewhere a confirmation of what we spoke about, and it's correct. Last One Nation, One Planet, One Race. The same topic came up as well. The whole change is that I came across, and I shared it very generous to a lot of people, because the guy is really also depending on donations. He was a nightclub owner, and he bumped into abandoned puppies and dogs on a dumpster. He's Spanish, I think. And he started taking it home and taking care of it. And then he starts feeding them. And then he starts collecting more and more dogs. And the people start threatening him that he could not do this, because they just were, the group was growing and growing. So he said, just give me a few weeks, I will sort the problem out. So with his money, he bought a big piece of land, and he put all his money and his effort. He has about 500 dogs, 600 dogs sometimes on his premises, which he's taking care of. It doesn't matter how they come in, he just embraces them and brings them in stability. He has a special container where he has the more needy animals. So he ran out of money. He said, I thought I would lose everything. And then suddenly he started announcing it and working through Facebook and other media platforms, and people start donating. So he said, I just got saved overnight. And that's the reason why I send it out, because if we are with so many knowledge seekers, €1 or €2 or €5, it will not kill us. But it will help a man sustaining all these animals in a humanitarian way, that they have some decency in their life. That was the main reason he said they deserve to have food and shelter just like everybody else. So I bump continuously in all these kind of things, and then I see what I can do and where I can support. And so do share your wishes and do share what you are experiencing. And that's why I'm asking the knowledge seekers or the council members to come forward. What is your wish? Where can you see or notice the change? Because we are no longer working for one individual or not even for ourselves. We are working for the total change. People which are working in societies, which are looking after elderly or looking after children or animals or environmental or water or fauna and flora. You can give that extra nudge, because once we start caring, then we care for the totality. That's where we elevate. I think we should put an extra attention, maybe later on in the session, to work on a wish for all those, how do you call these people which are working in the streets to support the ones which are homeless, the ones which are critical, have addictions. It's not a social worker, I think. It's
I call them street workers sometimes.
I think that they can use a boost because they are there. They don't have the financial means, but at least they stay on a humanitarian level in contact with them. They know them. They know their name, they know where they come from, they know their problems. And that's the only interaction that those people have with these, you call them street workers. They know their people. And I think it will be very nice, doesn't matter where they're working, to put them in the sunlight, that they can get more support for the work they do, because it is important. Each stone that is getting built to improve somebody else's life gives a boost to all to do better. So anybody, any news or wants to share where we can shine a light on that they can use this kind of support, because we work through the soul. It would be nice to start adding these kind of wishes into our wish list, that we put the support, energy, field strength in their direction so that they get a boost. What do you think?
Hello, everybody. This is Marius from Romania. And by hearing you, all what you said earlier, and looking at this picture, I imagine large areas of sea cities, like cities that are floating onto the seas and oceans, and powered up by plasma. I think that's something nice to wish for. At least, concept artists and game developers are able to draw these things, to imagine them even better than I do, maybe. But the application of it and putting it into practice, I think it means a lot of work, but I think it's worth it. because as you mentioned, the rise of sea levels or decreasing the sea levels may affect the houses and the cities close to the land, close to the seaside. I'm just thinking out loud. I see a new world like this one with floating cities and a lot of plasma devices everywhere. And it's something I personally wish for.
I wonder if we want to put this into the wishes of the in the KF Wiki, formulate an actual wish related to that, or do we need to do that, Carolina?
Yeah, we can open the wish list and we can literally start boosting where the changes are needed, where the field strength is required. We have also, let's say, the Doctors Without Frontiers. They are doing great jobs. You have a lot of doctors which go for 1 or 2 weeks to the other side of the world to just for 1 week, non-stop operating, correcting operations, facial adjustments, cleft palates, emergency. So we can start putting a light on those working groups, and we can make it simple. We can create a wish that we give, and then we can put all the categories that we don't need to keep a repetitive wish, but that they all receive at the same time from the point of the wish. So
okay, how would that look then?
I would maybe start with we, the knowledge seekers, are present in the wish. Oh, this is very petite for me.
Okay, I'll try to make it bigger here. Just a minute. Okay, that should be better.
Yep. I'm trying to invite Jamila because she might give us more information about her wish. There she is. I know a lot of knowledge seekers will come in later on.
Hi, Caroline. Hi, everyone. This is Paul from Togo.
Hi, Paul.
Hi, Caroline. So you have asked me some report about my wish about Togo. Last time I couldn't answer to that because of my time. So I think now I can give you a report about that. So I want to thank everyone for participate to the peace in Togo because of your adhesion and your integration to our wish. We have no peace in Togo since we have give our wish and everyone have tried to respond to that wish. We have got a lot of politics movements since that time until now, but we still have the peace. Now, in 2 days, we will start a local election to elect our mayor from all the country. And in 2020, we are going again to the presidential election. But we have constated from our wish that we have gotten the peace, and some moments the movement have tried to come back, but it have been stopped again very soon, and all Togolese are living in peace. So I could say that it is very good result from all of our action, and I will still ask you to wish peace for Togo for this local election and for 2020. So this last time, since 1 year, I could say that the political agendas was so charged, so intense, and still be because of different election. The real peace I will wish for the nation of Togo will be the peace in heart. The peace in heart, because when you absorb the nation have peace. There is no war, there is no insult, there is no animosity. It is real peace. But what I will like to see is the peace in heart. The peace in heart means that our different entities, government, association work together to give satisfaction at the needs of all Togolese. The need of all Togolese will give the real peace in heart, the real peace in man. Because when you are living and certain needs is not achieved, you have somewhere some trouble in you. So I wish this peace now, which is the peace at second level. That peace is needed for all Togolese, for them to be the people of peace in this world. So thank you everyone, and I will like to get your support for this local election and for 2020. And thank you for what you have participated to achieve as peace at the very hard moment of our nation in 2018. It was beautiful, your action, and I will encourage knowledge seeker workshop and knowledge seeker and universal council members to bring their piece regarding to different problem anywhere in the universe. Our soul is connected together, and the soul is one of the top power in this world. As soon as we put our soul together to work together to achieve one goal, it is possible because, as Mr. Kesh has said, our soul is working as the big reactor, one of the top reactor in this universe. And as soon as we learn how to use this soul to connect to one wish, to participate, to achieve one wish, to send to the central bank by our soul for one wish, we become one nation, one planet, one race, one people. And we need to work as these kind of people to be able to achieve peace in this world. We need to work as this kind of people to be able to bring human race together. We have started, we have to continue, we have to invite, we have to let know about our work and about our results, and from our results we can convince those to join us to be able to achieve that goals. So if you are knowledge seekers and you see some problem anywhere, don't mind that you cannot achieve that. Just bring it at universal council level. Just bring that at this platform. It is possible to bring peace to them. We don't have nothing to lose when we are there to bring peace to one nation or one communities. We don't have nothing to lose. We gain a lot of things as soul in peace, as man in peace, when we work at that kind of direction. So it is important to bring the peace to anyone, to any community, to any people in this planet. Just need to know and just bring that here. And the different power of different soul will get in interaction, will bring the power of creation to be able to achieve that for the one you wish to get in peace. I think it is one of the most beautiful work we are doing in this universe. There is no interest behind what we are doing. We just need to see people in peace. And it is one of the most beautiful work in this universe. There is no salary to get when you are working in this kind of direction. That's why when you understand the wish of Mr. Kesh, this wish is to bring the peace to human race, and you start to work at this direction, you see that your soul release too much powerful in you become to show people that you are powerful. No, powerful man who enjoy himself. When your soul release the
Hello,
powerfulness.
Paul?
Hi.
We lost your audio there. Maybe it's on my end. Sorry.
Where did you lose me?
Okay, go ahead, Paul.
Okay, thank you. So I was saying that when we walk in that direction, joining to the invitation of Mr. Cash, that invitation is to bring peace to all human race. You don't have any salary for that, but for having work on that direction, I could give you my testimonial that you become more powerful man not to show to anyone that you are powerful, but your soul release the strength of the field in your body, and more you see yourself healthily, more you see yourself connected, more you see yourself getting different key for different things in this universe. And I could see that that is more than salary that anyone can pay you in this universe. So I invite you really to join to this goal of peace achievement. Hello. Hello.
Thank you, Paul. Yes, we heard that. Very good message. Thank you very much. And I am present in your wish for peace.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. I'm
I'm
present.
present.
I am present, Paul, with your wish. Thank you.
I am present, Paul, in your wish for continuing growth in peace in all places. Thank you.
I am present.
Okay, perhaps we want to put something down to notate the wish from Paul that we heard today. And is that the way you want to make this wish, Carolina, that you mentioned? We, the knowledge seekers, are present in the wish. And then we put down various wishes after that.
Yep.
Okay, so
this is actually more different groups overlapping, which are coming into our attention of giving to those groups which are working relentless in their own small little parts of the society, but they are so important. They are the shelters. They are the ones which are embracing abandoned children, abandoned animals, the street workers, which are very flexible in their way of working. So we can put a list for all those people to receive from all of us to highlight their beautiful work.
okay, could you give me the list again there? How do we start it?
We can start the street workers, and then you can explain what this name means, or maybe the link from the Wikipedia. because not many people know what this means. I know they're much more acquainted with this in the United States and in big cities where they have a lot of hidden poverty and problems, and those people are trained to interact.
It's actually got two meanings, kind of unfortunately. A street worker can be a social worker who engages with people on the street, or it can be a prostitute who works on the street. So, well, there we go. We take both ends of the meaning that way, I suppose. I just putting that warning out that I thought when I was saying the word, then I was thinking, does it have another meaning? And I just looked it up in the Wiki dictionary or whatever it is.
Pardon.
And sure enough, there's two meanings. So I don't know if we want to use street workers. Street workers can be fine. We could say street workers and social workers, or we could say social workers on the street if you wanted to put it that way. But you're more concerned about the actual the people on the street, right? The people seeking shelter and so on.
No, I'm looking for those which are the only interactive human point between their world, which and the world which we know of, which is structured, and they don't have those structures anymore. They've gone. They would disappear literally. But at the same time, when I remember, I saw a documentary about street workers in Amsterdam, and they prevent a lot of people getting AIDS. So they provide the ones which are in need with fresh needles and centers where they can get support. So they are like a cornerstone for those people which are living in those situations, to keep the balance instead of letting it to go worse, to keep the balance going. Those are the ones I was referring to, but I didn't know how the name was in English or in the United States. It's a different, but they have a huge difference of work. They look after so many different aspects. They literally more or less live among those people, but they are the interactive, because if you put a policeman there, then you shut the door, because they are more or less looking the same as the ones which are on the street. They wear normal clothes, they talk the same language, they understand the language, so they blend in and they don't shake off the interaction between the differences. That's why they are so important.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is actually a major issue in Canada right now, and is reflected into the world with what they call the what is the final name? It's the missing Indigenous women issue, missing and murdered Indigenous women in particular, but missing and murdered women that has occurred in the last decades, basically, in this country. And now, and many of those people were on the street at the time when they went missing. And that's part of the the problem in our society and so on. So this is very much part of that liaison, that interconnection between those people that are on the margins of our societies, and to integrate them or to help them in different ways to
I think,
survive.
Rick, I think they call them corner workers. Corner street workers. That's the name, I think.
Okay, I can look that up maybe.
How about community outreach workers?
I don't know. They are like infiltrated among them. They don't stand out. It's only the reports they give as a feedback that you know they are, because they don't wear the uniforms, they don't wear nothing specific, but they are the interactive between that kind of group and where the support is coming from. I thought they were called corner workers. Nothing to do with nothing to do with prostitution. I'm targeting specific the people which are there as the support for those which are in need in the society. And I thought, if I can recall correctly, they're called corner workers, because each one, because in the United States, you work with, how do you call it, blocks. So a block covers a huge amount of people. It's not like in Europe.
No, a corner worker actually, the definition for that is a worker on a racetrack. Their job has two functions: to communicate with drivers and to communicate with the race control by radio. So that's what they call corner workers, is in auto racing. Actually, I don't see corner worker coming up as a different definition. Now, when Google searches from my area, it'll be as a North American perspective. So if you search from Europe, it might have a different definition. So yeah, there is that possibility, because English is a funny language. English can be different than Canadian or American English in terms of, in words like that, quite often.
Sometimes they're called the angels of the streets. We all know the line of work they are providing, and they do a good job. So we can go to the next one.
So in the wish itself, it says, we the knowledge seekers are present in the wish. And what is the actual wish? Would be for support for street workers and social workers? Or what can I put down besides just street workers and social workers?
Let me think about it. It will come.
Okay. All right. So we want to go to the next category under that wish, that general wish. Anything? Okay, what else did you have on your, I think there was 3 items that you had.
Oh, you have so many.
You talked about animals, I believe.
Yeah. Also, there were so many people.
Was it animals in shelters, or what was it specifically?
The people which are providing animal shelter and rescue center, because they do it by themselves. They are not connected to government. They are setting it up by their own means, and they start collecting stray animals, doesn't matter what it is. You have them as well for the wild animals as well as for the domestic animals. So it doesn't matter which animal, they're all coming under that category. You got the ones which are washing the oils off, the ones which are rescuing them because they've been crippled, or they are put to get lost. Or it's amazing how many people are reaching out for those animals.
Yes, definitely true. We have one locally where I live, and they take everything from owls and eagles right through to raccoons and deer, depending if they've been hurt or need help. And people take them to the shelter, and they take care of virtually any animal and find a way to release them back into the wild usually.
It's amazing how much love people, and it happens out of nowhere. They're not even trained for it. They just do it. Then I have the third line, which brought me back to the girl who started as a student, and she set up orphanages and teaching centers on her own behalf with her own saved money, and it's been growing like crazy. So the people which are setting up orphanages and teaching centers for the children which are not that. I wish I could go back to, it was orphanage. She started by supporting, she adopted one child, and then she went to 10, and then it ran out of hand. Yeah, by adoption. She started by actually adopting 1 or 2 children by herself, providing them with shelter, food, education, and then from there on it grew. And it came in Facebook. She just finished studying. She went on a trip, like so many students do, and her life path just changed from where she came. She said, why should I have everything, and why can I not share what I have to be equal for all the others? It was a very beautiful way she came to that point. Yeah. There goes another one. The Doctors Without Frontiers.
You're actually combining the French and English. It's Médecins Sans Frontières, but it's Doctors Without Borders, they call it.
Yeah, Médecins Sans Frontières.
It's Médecins Sans Frontières. It's a corporation.
It's the doctors which are connecting themselves to this. They're always there. Doesn't matter what happens where. They give their time to do certain projects, especially when it's crisis or emergency centers, they are there. And then they go and do these kind of interventions where they go for 1 or 2 weeks and they just do, literally they are taking as many people they can to change their life for good.
Yes,
I
and
have a lot of respect for those doctors.
yes, and they take many risks also to take children sometimes with them and save them from starvation, and they do really big work. Yes, there are many of those, some of those, not many, but some of those efficient as this one. Oh, I can't remember the names, but the shepherd also, this with the sea, and I don't know, some of them beautiful persons doing great work, and I'm very thankful for all what they are doing, because they
It would be
saving.
nice for the knowledge seekers to start getting in touch with these groups, les Médecins Sans Frontières or Doctors Without Borders, because if we can integrate our knowledge in their work, they will save a lot of time. We just need to make them aware and make the introduction that it is possible.
Yes, of course. I'm talking with some others also, groups. There are many in France, you know, and but you know, France is a little bit okay, special, but they are coming, beautiful young people now, and many things are happening, even in France. So, médecin, I can correct this, please. Médecin, it's without e, I, médecin, only with n. Sans, it's okay, and frontière, médecin sans front. No, it's okay. No, without s. Only médecin. Yes, maybe plural. Yes, I don't know how they call. There are médecins sans frontières when they present somewhere, because there are doctors. Yes, and frontière, it's with the accent. You know, on the other side. I can take hand if you want to write it, but I'm not.
Apostrophe.
Yes, accent grave. I don't know. I'm never have been very good in French, but grammatical. But and frontiere, R-E-S, E-S, and to finish. Let the accent after. No, it's okay. Okay, no. Yes, it's okay. Yes, right. You're beautiful. Who is writing? It's Rick or Flint? Bravo.
Rick did that. Yep.
It's okay like this. Okay, thank you. And there are many
That's,
others,
uh,
but
it's
I will
actually
search
it's
others
spelled the other
also,
way
and
too.
will add it to you. I give to you an information, yes? So you can judge if you want to add it or not. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ursula.
So we have more people which are working on these kind of beautiful, and you know, if you listen to them, why they started this kind of work, it's literally the same as you becoming a knowledge seeker. They responded to their soul. It's stronger than anything else, and they just do it for the love of it, and with such a pleasure and such a dedication. And it's so beautiful, because that's what knowledge seekers also have been contributing to this change. And it's not local, it's gone worldwide. And these people we know in each country, they are working with that same way. You can call them knowledge seekers, because they have gone into a direction which they were not brought up. They didn't have, except for the Doctors Without Borders. They are trained for what they carry out, but the beauty to go into that extra extension of what they know as knowledge, to apply it in such a beautiful way that one girl who set up her own project, the people which are coming and setting up these shelters and huge shelters for animals, the street workers, you have to have it in your heart to deal with that kind of agony every day and see and know that you're there on your own, taking care of so many. That is talking through the soul, through your heart. That's why I want to put a beautiful light on them, because they can use our field strength to shine and to receive more. And then we have an extra category for like the man who wants to convert with his own wealth a cruise ship into a shelter. So there are many of those which have started up these kind of projects. I know a lot of people with a lot of money have started projects up, like recently it came in the news that I don't remember his name. He's a famous actor, and he started to protect the bees. So that was part of our wish, and 1 or 2 weeks ago it came into the news. And it's hectares of land that they are protecting the bees. So these kind of projects are also beautiful to mention, because they become part of the supporting of the social structure. You have a lot of famous football players which go back home and then work from where they came from. And those are beautiful souls which are contributing to the totality of their society. And then I want to shed the light on the very young scientists which are coming up with solutions for environmental problems, like I think it was the 2 Chinese girls who came up with the solution for the bacteria to degrade the plastic, if I'm not wrong. So their scientific knowledge, they bring it out to work for the benefit of so many. So our younger generation of scientists and maybe you can add environmental, because the scientists have brought, and on medical, because I also came across that very young, extremely young, he found a way to test, and it's apparently 100% to detect cancer for a few dollars. The diagnose without pain, without going through the normal channels of trying to find out. So it's not only environmental, but also on medical. They are delivering beautiful work. Anybody Any extra topics that can be added of special people?
There are a lot of. We will search and we'll add it on the list. I think we can think about and feel it. There are very, very much in the world and everybody in the world. So so many beautiful. On
We
les
can
appelle aussi
barely hear you,
médecins aux
Ursula.
pieds nus. Médecins aux pieds nus, you know. It's barefoot medicines who are very beautiful to look at, and they are in silence. They're working on their own. They're not making noises, respecting nature, learning and teaching, and with very much compassion also. And this is the word. We need to have compassion today of what is happening and be wise and learn from them. Thank you.
Rick, may I add to it for the groups that are saving and sharing heirloom seeds and plants and the trees and other vegetation? The growers and groundskeepers, so to speak.
Okay, could you say that again? The groups saving seeds
and plants, trees, other vegetation, or all vegetation. Those that are groundskeepers, I think is what they're called, and growers. There are many groups starting now that are heirloom saving seeds and trading seeds, and it's beautiful to see that globally occurring so that they can find their balance with what will grow best in their areas of the world. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I hear they had some trouble at the seed bank. They have a huge international seed bank. I think it's in Iceland or Greenland. And
yes,
because it's starting to thaw out, and so they're having issues with the global warming that they hadn't counted on. So it's kind of ironic that they set up there where now it's becoming warmer, and they're having some of the seeds are being threatened because if they thaw out, then they could rot and so on.
Indeed, I had heard the same thing some time back, and I was very grateful to see how quickly we've always had them, but how quickly they've grown, the exchanges in the different groups, just on Facebook, for example. But the social media groups have picked up on it, and they're heirloom seeds that are, hand raised and traded and healthy, plants. And it's going from country to country too, which is beautiful.
Yeah, it's true. I was just at a farmer friend's a couple of days ago, and he was showing me the heirloom tomatoes that he was growing, and a bunch of other vegetables, apples, pears, this kind of thing. It's becoming very popular with some farmers, the ones that are doing the massive operations, the big commercial farming operations are not so much into the heirloom because they may not produce as much as some of the modern strains and so on, or they may not have the bug resistance or something else that the modern strains might have under certain circumstances.
You mean the apples aren't square to fit in the box?
Exactly. And they aren't unbruisable even with a baseball bat, so that they look good in the store, but then you open them up and they're rotten at the core, sort of thing. So yeah, anyway, you don't need to get into all the downside of that industry, but suffice to say, to support for those who are saving the I guess all seeds and plants, trees, and vegetation, not just heirloom. Or do you want to put heirloom in there in particular? That's just one aspect, I guess.
Yeah, I would say heirloom just is stating that it's a true seed, you know. But I think that our intention is there just by saving seeds, because we have the technology with the plasma technology. So yeah, that's perfect. Thank you very much, Rick.
Okay, thank you, Peggy. Okay, what else goes on the list in this wish? Is this list complete, do you think, Carolina? Or we just keep it open here now for additions? See, Manuel's putting through some links on dog homes and sanctuary. I see. Okay.
I'm going through the chats as well to need to catch up. It's to bring into light the ones which stand out, but in not in the public domain front page. I mean, they pop up here and there, and then you become aware of it. It's the ones which are really, really bringing the change by themselves. I've been going through a lot of not majority, but a lot of people, their life changes when they have had a significant impact personally by losing somebody, and then their life just changes completely upside down, and they start working on solutions to prevent or to support or to help.
Well, go ahead, sorry.
And they come also under that word scientists, because they converted their life into bringing the solution for something that, if it would have been there, they might have saved a loved one, or they might have created a better condition. You got a lot of these kind of people which become scientists in their own kitchen, in their own office, in their own small environment, and they bring the solution because that is what they aimed for, and that is the beauty then which comes into operation for so many to benefit from it.
Well, I absolutely agree, and I'd like to bring into the conversation here again this what do you call it? Inquiry, they call it, into the missing and murdered Indigenous women that's just occurred. The inquiry just finished here on June 3rd after 3 years, I think, of intensive interviews and taking all the evidence and so on. And it's been over 2 decades in the making, this particular inquiry. They've been putting it off and so on. So I'd like to just show the Wikipedia that that describes this inquiry. And perhaps we can just look at that. In terms of what you're saying here now, Caroline, I think it's an excellent example of exactly what you're talking about. So let me just get it up here. Where is it? Here. Okay, this is the Wikipedia entry on it. Even though it just occurred, it's a new entry that they put in to accommodate it. So let me just read a little bit to give people a bit of background on what this is about. So the missing and murdered Indigenous women epidemic, MMIW, is an issue currently affecting Indigenous people in Canada and the United States, including the First Nations, Inuit, Métis, and Native American communities. It has been described as a Canadian national crisis and a Canadian genocide. Responding to repeated calls of Indigenous groups, other activists, and non-governmental organizations, the Government of Canada under Prime Minister Justin Trudeau established the National Inquiry into Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls in September of 2016. According to the April 22, 2016 background on the National Inquiry into Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls, from 1980 and 2012, Indigenous women and girls represented 16% of all female homicides in Canada, while representing only 4% of the female population in Canada. It goes on to give some rates and talking about why they started this inquiry. In the United States, 84% of Native American women experience violence in their lifetimes. And so it goes on and gives more statistics about that. And talks also about the different groups that have been involved in trying to bring about this inquiry, and the various hearings and Assembly of First Nations and women's groups were involved, and Aboriginal groups, and of course the government and social workers are involved, the police are involved. Everyone has a role to play in this inquiry. And sometimes, like in the case of the police, they have two aspects. One is that often they're the in-between, and they're the ones that are taking the reports about the violence and investigating it and so on in a very ethical way. But on the other hand, they were also responsible for not acting on certain aspects and actually creating some of the turmoil as well. So there's different positive and negative aspects, you might say, of this whole part. So it goes on to talk about how they've worked with it in the US. They've established In Arizona, for example, they also have a committee that's studying the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. And there's various activists that have been involved in this. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission in Canada called for the government to establish this inquiry and so on. And there's a lot of pressure to come through with this. And eventually the government did decide to release and to go through with this inquiry and actually release the details and so on, which was followed through on June 3rd of this year. And I talk about other groups that are responding. Some of the universities are doing projects. Walking with Our Sisters is an art installation that was done based on all this. The Native Women's Association of Canada has projects, and various others have all been spawned from this inquiry. So even though there's, it's kind of a very sad thing in many ways, and the people that were giving evidence and having to go through all the family turmoil and problems that occurred from someone going missing in their family, it just gone, and they didn't know where they were, what happened to them for many, many years. And then maybe they would find out, maybe they wouldn't. And this was part of, there was actually a highway that there were so many of these women killed on this highway. They called it the Highway of Tears. And it was, it became an actual series that was launched, and that was, part of which put on some of the pressure as well when they investigated these stories and on the Highway of Tears, and found out, the gruesome ends for for all of these women that died on that highway. And so what ended up coming out of all this is a lot of wonderful work. And like you were saying, Caroline, you remind me that there were scientists out of the work of this inquiry and out of the work of the Aboriginal people especially, that went into this inquiry, both in the lawyers, the people that were the part of the around 300 people gave evidence, how it affected their families directly with this loss that occurred in their family and so on. And from all that, there were scientists created that act as the go-between between the government and the peoples that are affected, the aspects of society that are affected by all this. And they become very good at what they're doing and researching all the various details and facts of the cases, and maybe they write a book about it, maybe they broadcast it on national TV, maybe they like one of my friend's son, who's part Aboriginal, decided to investigate languages over the last year. And so he goes off and does interviews with various tribes up north and about their language and trying to maintain the language and so on. So these are some of the things that are coming up now. There's more of compassion, I think, for the native peoples of the lands. And this is not just in Canada, but I think this is a good example of what is being done. And it just shows that the government can have a role and can have basically the guts to be able to allow such an inquiry to happen, first of all, and then to accept the results. And we had our Prime Minister Justin Trudeau recently even say that this was a genocide, considered a genocide against the Aboriginals of the original peoples of this area. So it's pretty big, and there's a lot of healing now that can occur once this has been brought up. That's the hard part, is to bring all this to the surface to start with, because I mean, we're talking about missing people, and it's something that normally you just want to keep hidden, because if you start to disturb it, it's just disturbs everybody, and then the police have to do a lot of work to get all the facts together and try to research it and so on. It takes resources, it takes time and money and energy and so on, but that's what's required, and it wasn't done adequately before, so now it's being put into now, and it's all becomes transparent. To me, transparency is the key word that comes in our world now. It's no longer able to be swept under the carpet and forgotten about. It's transparent, and people want to take action on it once it becomes apparent and out of the shadows and into the light. And this is, to me, what it's all about in our modern world of leading to peace. We have to establish first what actually happened, what needs to be healed, and usually just the act of observing it is enough to cause all the healing to naturally occur. So I think that's what we see here, that act of observation. The people that give evidence and the people that hear that evidence, and you know, we have our Prime Minister breaking down and crying over the intensity of the emotion in this situation, as virtually all of the people giving evidence and the people hearing evidence. It's a very emotional time. But once that initial emotion is gone through, then there's the action phase. And well, even during the whole thing, the last decade or two, there's been many points of action. But now we can see that there's a possibility of it actually being followed through on. So I think this is a landmark and a milestone in leading toward peace, because it's a healing with the Aboriginals, the original peoples of the countries of this world, which is so important in order to accommodate this the colonialist mentality that's been the prime driver of many of our war situations in the world right now. And that's actually mentioned in here. I wish I could find the if I could find the part here that it was at the top here. Just bear with me a second here. Well, I just can't seem to put my finger on it right now, but it's in there as part of the whole thing. It's yeah, it's one of the factors. They mentioned the underlying factors of this, why the Indigenous women have been targets of hatred and violence. Underlying factors such as poverty and homelessness contribute to their victimization, as do historical factors such as racism, sexism, and the legacy of colonialism. And the colonialism particularly came up many times in this report. And it was actually mentioned by the Prime Minister as well, that this is the colonial history of Canada is not something to be, or of the British as far as that goes, which is part of it in the past as well. And it also leads into the residential school system, which occurred in Canada, where they put all the Aboriginals into the residential schools and made them live there and took them away from their families, and would not allow them to speak their own language and that kind of thing. So I just wanted to bring that up as another aspect. There's a lot of really good people that are working in between, as the in-between people, as we sort of indicated on our wishes here. So maybe there's a way we can put that into the wish. I'll bring up the wishes here again. Yeah, sorry, I've been talking for a long time there. Is there anybody that has any questions or comments about that topic, or can help me write the wish here? I think I would just put it in the supporters of the missing and murdered women and children. And I'm going to put in of the world instead of just Canada. And leave it at that unless someone would like to change it. Again, opening up the floor. I have a hand up with Dean, but I think that was from previous. Okay, well, if there's no comments, let's carry on to the next part here, whatever that is. Okay, Dean does have his hand up, apparently. Go ahead, Dean.
Hello, everybody. Hello? Shoot. Hello?
Yeah, we hear you. Go ahead, Dean.
Okay. Peace. I have some stuff that I have discovered in the last couple days, and it has everything connected with everything. Put a comment, and then I'm going to move on to solutions. The things that are happening with the women and the children and the men and everything else, in my opinion, coming from a Christian background, it says that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but principalities and powers. And the powers that are doing this, it's in the lexicon that I grew up in. It said Satan to kill, destroy.
Sorry, you're really breaking up there, Dean. Maybe you can get to a better position where your signal is better or something. We can barely hear you.
Okay, well, let me walk and see if we get a better signal. Can I be heard now?
Keep trying. Let's see. Can't hear you at all right now. No, can't hear you. Still can't hear you. It's gone completely dead. Can't hear a thing, Dean. Hello? I just heard a voice there. Try again. Try again.
Can you hear me now?
That's a little better, I think. Yep.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I hear me.
It's kind of breaking up.
Is it clear?
You'll have to keep talking to see, because it breaks up when you're talking.
I'm going to try to get on mute because I think I have stuff that's important to share. But I have to have a clear voice, so I'm going to go to a different mode of communication.
Okay.
You can hear me now?
Yeah, right at this moment is perfect.
Okay. You break. Okay, fabulous. Peace to everybody. We're here for solutions. I'm going to give a open statement of what that we're fighting against is, and then I'm where to move from here. We are fighting an entity that wants to kill us, steal everything we could ever choose to build. And it does it through literally killing and sacrificing that which is most precious, which is life and the planet, the air. And it's one entity that we're working in order to overcome. Now I'm going to end there, and I'm going to put some.
Sorry, we lost you again there, Dean. You said you're going to end there, and that was the last we heard. So I think you're going to say something after that. Okay, well, we don't hear.
Yeah. Well, if you can hear anything, I'm going to try my computer. Otherwise, my voice is not welcome in this conversation today.
Well, it's working good. It's working good right at this moment, but we couldn't hear it before. It kept breaking up.
Well, I have solutions, and that's why it keeps on breaking up. The information doesn't want to get out there. Now I'm putting in an air conditioner, and the air conditioner that is going in, because of what it does as far as an air conditioner, creates water. And in the little air conditioner that I'm putting in, it creates 3 pints per hour. Can you still hear me?
Yes, it's clear right now.
Okay. Then I'm going to get this out. Well, that conditioning of the air, if it is brought about through the energy that is required in order to run the equipment, gives water. Not only does it give water, this little air conditioner, 1100 BTUs in a environment that I live in, which is a desert, I'm going to see how much water it actually produces. But if it only took a pint of water out of the air per hour, if you take and put an energy source that'll run a air conditioner and lights within an enclosed environment, you can put a sustainable agricultural system in. The only thing that is important is the power input in order to run lights equipment. If you have that power input, we can take and roll out technologies that are off the shelves right now in physicality in order to bring a homeostasis to the planet. And the key ingredient is power. If we have the ability to tap in to the electrons either flowing through wires or non-flowing through wires in the physicality, then we have the ability immediately to take and bring the things that are necessary for both plant, vertical brothers, and horizontal brothers. I learn, it's like sometimes I go and I want to hit myself in the head and go, Dean, how could you not have seen this picture when you've been looking at all of this stuff for such a long time? And just the process of cooling air in a hot environment brings about condensation. That condensation is water. That water can be turned into food. We have the answers. We have them now. I've been working with groups, including this one, and just saying, okay, we know how to do it. Just let us do it. Anyway, if I've been heard, that's great. That's what I had to say. And good God, I'm willing to interface, and hopefully in this next week, I have funding through the people who I'm working with, the groups that I'm working with. And if we do, we're off and running. Now, I haven't learned how to totally integrate what happens with Keshe because I'm working in two worlds. I'm working in the physicality and I'm working in the spirit. The spirit has brought me to the place where I am at right now that I can take and release a whole lot of things, just like this organization. So if I can still be heard, and I don't know, I'm just going to say my wish is let us free. Let us take as creators, be able to implement the things that are in our spirit. Because all of the things that you've talked about so far, and we've talked about, my spirit has talked about because we're connected. It's like the animals, the homeless, all of these things I've been involved with, and I have a legacy that is bringing that about. But good God, I want this stuff released now. I want it released massively. I want it released across the nations. And if we have just one thing, we have power. Then even if we started out as a fungus in a petri dish, with that power, we can take it. And I don't know if you know how it looks when mycelium is running through a petri dish. It's fast. And I can take a little piece of that mycelium, and within 90 days, I can have over a ton or 10 tons of food actually produced. And we talk about the breaking down of the plastics and the rest of the stuff. We already have the technologies. It's already here. And yes.
I'm gonna ask you to make sure that that water from your air course cannot be consumed by human beings. It's only good for your garden.
And the garden is fine.
Yeah, but you got to be specific because people think that becomes drinking water and it's not.
Well, what it is it can become drinking water. All you have to do is filter it. It is that from condensation. It's the same thing that you get when you what do you call that? Not pasteurized, but when you distill water, it's distilled water.
No, you got to be careful. It's not the same because people are using air conditioners worldwide. The environmental conditions are not there to consume that kind of water.
But it's there for agriculture.
Excuse me, you have to bring it to a lab to be checked what that water contains before you can apply it for human consumption. We have always made sure, and Mr. Keshe was the first one to pay attention to that. You cannot use water from air conditionings to consume as a human being. No, even when you put it through water filters, you still have to know what is in your environment. What you collect is what your air conditioner is collecting for you, and then you drink it. So be very careful.
I'm talking primarily about agriculture and using it in an agricultural system.
That was not mentioned, darling. That's why I'm putting the extra attention to it for people not to get confused, because releasing information, you have to cover the whole for what people might assume, and that is where you have to make sure that it's understood it's only for gardening.
It's for agriculture, and as I see it, it's a enclosed agriculture, because if you're doing hydroponic or you're doing fungal culture or a lot of different things, you're doing it in controlled environments, greenhouses or underground or above ground. And just the process of cooling, you have the water that can be uptake through our plant brothers and sisters.
Yes, but even there you got to be careful, because if you try to water your garden pesticide free and God knows what ingredients free, you got to double check your water before you even just toss it in the garden for your plants which you're growing. Be very careful.
I live in the Central Valley of California.
Yeah, but my point, everybody is living under the same conditions as where the air is clean. That's my only point I'm making. Because
I understand.
Extremely hot summers in a very industrial zone, and then Rick will tell you don't use that water because it might have this and this and this and that and that. So I just want to make sure, be careful. It's something you can explore, but be wise in how you explore it. That's all.
Well, we can put up a mycelial filter that'll take out anything that you can have in the water. And there is nothing that I can, if the rain comes down from the sky in my valley, which produces 30% of the fruit that is consumed in the United States, and a whole lot of it goes around the world, I cannot breathe air that is not contaminated with glyphosate, with Roundup. It's not available to me. Therefore, as I've said before, we have to, we have to start cleaning it up, but we have to live through the process. And I'm more likely within my body and my consciousness to be able to deal with whatever infractions come against my physicality through the environmental degradation and damage. But yet in the process of creating, I am diminishing the pollutants and the rest of the stuff. And if it's done where you integrate the different components of agriculture with fungus and bacterium and all of these other components, you can take care of these challenges. And in the process of taking care of these challenges, we can provide homeostasis for both the planet. We're in a crisis, right? Right now, we just, it's like we're in the hospital. We have the IV going in, and it's just sugar water. Not really good for us, but it's going to keep us sustained. And at this point, I think we're at the crisis point where we need to bring about at least the next season of harvest. And as we bring about the next season of harvest, we can start implementing the technologies that are here, that aren't being controlled by the people who are going out and doing the things that were talked about earlier, which is, the slaughter of the indigenous women, children, and everything else that can be sacrificed. I see us at we're in a major war right now. And, sometimes you just can't get the best water and the best air when bombs are blowing up all over the place. So,
may I say something quick? Dean,
yes, absolutely.
Dean, can I say something quick? I only have 1 minute. It caught my attention to the news of the women disappear in Canada. And I understand it, like we did a wish sometime back, Caroline, about the feminine energies. And I would like to try to, if we can do another wish, to protect and that female energy of the indigenous, that they are connected to nature, and that very powerful fields of healing and empowering, and they're being suppressed, to that energy to be manifest freely without that trauma. That worldwide we have cases of women abuse, and same as the children, because they are so powerful for being so pure, and they carry the life force very strongly. And I think that's the reason why they're being suppressed. And I just want to wish to support those souls so this can stop,
I do too. See, I have an affinity for the children, and I have an affinity for those who have gone through that stuff. Because at a young age, I was sold. And so I know what it is like to be sold, and I know what it is like to be redeemed. So my wish goes there, and a little too much put out on the air. But I do, like the answers, we have them right now. Just let's release them. And with that, I say peace be with you all. I love you guys. And anybody who ever listens to this, you take up your spirit and you take up your mantle of authority and you take up your voice and you speak out, and then you take your hands and you create something. If you can't do anything else, for God's sake, plant a flower. And with that,
very much, Dean.
Peace be with you.
And Estella, Rick, I think we have to change something in the last one you put up.
Okay.
We have to support the supporters of the families from.
Is that better? Supporters of the families of missing and murdered women, children of the world.
And use supporters. These are specifically trained caretakers.
Yeah, they have special ceremonies and interactions that they do in the Aboriginal world.
Are these the indigenous themselves which are creating the support for these families? Or
well, this is the thing about it is, yes, they have developed that network, and it's much stronger now than it used to be, and they have a voice, and they have much more. It's much more scientific in a way, you might say. It's much more focused.
So we can actually put them as the elderly, the indigenous elderly.
The elders, you mean?
They have become the supporters of these families, yeah? It's
it's not just the elders, but yes, the elders are in support of that. But I mean, it could even be someone in elementary school that's done a project or something as support and bring this out and let people know and so on. So the support comes from many areas, and even they'll find support through the police or through the normal social services network, and all of the agencies and all of the Aboriginal resources they're all focusing depending on different areas and different jobs that they do and so on. But so this is what I find is important. It's not just a movement from the Aboriginal side that says, we want to help our own, but it's coming from you know, the Prime Minister, from the government, from the people of Canada. We don't want to have people going missing and murdered and causing all this havoc. It's not correct. So it's I guess it's multi-dimensional, multi-pronged that way, but the elders certainly would, or what they call elders, or the you know, the traditional and ones that carry the tradition for the various tribes. That would be where a lot of this support comes from, definitely. So do you want to incorporate that into that last sentence? How would we put that? Or is it okay the way it is? Or what would you like to do there?
Yeah, for the time being, yes. Because I see that all are so that is also the trafficking of the children which has taken place, which goes under this. But we have a wish about this. We made one in the past. And maybe that's the beauty which is coming up now, that the information starts coming up on the surface so many months later, because we create the wishes for that reality to take a platform that it can be dealt with. It can be so resolved. For so many, as you said, there are a lot of people which had no idea where their children are, and now they receive their answers and they get also the support for it, which was in that wish.
Well,
So
there
yes.
you go.
So yes, it's beautiful. Anybody else knows anything about, sorry for the noise. People doing great jobs, which usually don't receive much attention. There's a huge amount of more in detail that can come under the scientists, because we have, I do not know if they fall under environmental, but the ones which are providing as much detailed information as fast as they can when there is going to be an earthquake or a tsunami, because that has saved a lot of lives if they can warn on time. The ones which have done all the studies, the storm chasers, because they keep an eye on all their instruments, that they take their time. When there is a volcano about to erupt, that the warnings go out on time. And then we have a group which are the special teams which go into disaster zones. And these are not the Doctors Without Borders. These are specific trained which go for the identification of people which have gone lost in tsunamis and earthquakes and disaster. Yeah. which can also be fire from the fire brigade, but it's a whole team which is put together when they go for this kind of relief support. They have a really rough time when they come out of this kind of situation, because it's not a pretty picture. And one which falls under the scientists of the environmental protectors and the insects and animals was something that came by last week about a woman who she has made her task to release sharks from fishing hooks. And she needs to build up the confidence of the shark to come close enough, but they do eventually. And then it takes sometimes hours, sometimes a few minutes, sometimes days to release a fishing hook out of the mouth of a shark. So you see, people are serving in a lot of different ways. What I also wanted to put on the list is the people which are working with the palliative. And also under the scientists towards the animals is one who passed my attention that was creating braces and support systems for handicapped animals who lost a leg or two legs or unable to walk. And he started creating support for elephants. I've seen so many different animals, cows and donkeys and horses and you name it. He has created protheses to support the animals that they can be mobile again.
Do you want something specific about that, or just mentioning that?
I'm just mentioning because these are scientists. Their know-how, they create something. As I said before, it just comes out of nowhere. He didn't even study it. He just was a crafty man, and he started experimenting, and he just started finding solutions for animals which have these kind of crippled conditions. But because of the work, a lot of other people copy their work. So then it goes worldwide, and more animals are receiving the support from this. Beautiful. Anybody else?
I have the image of an elephant on crutches, but I guess that wouldn't work that way.
No, he was missing a front part of his front leg. He was caught in a snare or a trap, and they had to amputate it. So he made a prothese.
Yeah,
I've seen
nice.
how a complete replacement hip and leg. Unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. The combine being mechanical engineers and doctors at the same time as palliative workers in a way. We've got from Emmanuel the Mediterranean immigrants rescue boats. So those that are running the rescue boat patrols, I guess, for immigrants.
Yes.
I'll put that down as a new one here.
Because a lot of people are underestimating the danger of those people. It's an extremely dangerous job because they do not know what kind of infectious diseases these people are bringing with them without them even being aware of it.
Okay, thank you, Emmanuel, for that.
I would like to add a group as well, if I may.
Certainly.
Okay, there is those that we never see or hear ever from because they are silently in the background and they are kind of guarding mankind, or they are doing soul work, or some call themselves light worker or something like this. You don't hear of them. Many of them are very silent. They are just somewhere and being aware of what is happening and trying to contribute at the right place where they are just in a certain moment. So they don't belong to any societies or public something. You never see them, you never hear of them. They're just there.
Call them maybe the silent light workers.
Yeah, maybe silent workers, because light work is just to give it a name that I do not like so much myself.
Right, it's got a lot of connotations, yeah. Silent workers of the world. Could you define that a little better, maybe?
I can try. I don't know myself how to say. Maybe somebody has got a good idea how to call it.
I liked your idea of the light workers, but it's not the right word because it's got too many meanings that
Yes.
people today.
Maybe
some people don't like it.
Taking the word guardians into it.
Silent guardian workers of the world. Not bad.
Or just guardians. I don't know. You know, there has been an elevated guy in Cyprus. He doesn't live anymore, and I read his books, and he wrote, or an American friend of him wrote these books actually about this guy that was just called Daskalos, which means teacher in Greek language. And this guy was sometimes called to some place where something has had to be fixed, to be done. So he manifested himself at that point, at that place, and saved a woman or something else, and then just went back and did his normal work again. I was thinking of this kind of people.
They've called them Good Samaritans, and of course we know where that term comes from, but I'm thinking along those lines with your silent guardians. I was thinking about that. They're just the ones that are there. They're there in the time of need and for no other reason but to be and to be of service.
Actually, I think they do a lot of work with their soul, you know. It's not words, it's not something with your hands most of the time. It's just, as you say, being there, but it's also being very active with the soul. Thank you.
Yes.
So in a way, they're they could call them a silent witness, maybe as well. Just observing without having the urge to interfere or project one's own idiosyncrasies into the situation. Okay, would you like to change it a bit or leave it the way it is? What's the verdict there?
Oh, there is no verdict. Everyone who walks away from crushing an ant is a silent working and preserving.
Good point. Good point.
Or saving a child from, or anything. Anyone who goes out of his way to do a good deed is a silent worker. And there are billions of them. Not a few millions, there are billions. And every day, somewhere, somehow, somebody does something for somebody else. And that is what is very apparently changing in the whole humanity. They start working towards to support one another. Not anymore that me, and only me. That is what's changing a lot. And in this way, you can call each one who saved once something or put something right is the silent guardian of the world. It's beautiful. It's the acknowledgement to work unconditionally for something, to move something somewhere in position for someone else, for it to become peaceful. Anybody else? We must have more people working in different places that we can contribute to their work. The teachers. Apparently, a lot of teachers are suffering with the youngsters today. I think they need a boost to cope with our younger generation, which is not the same as it was 20, 30 years ago, that they were all sitting neatly, greatly on the table. We have received a dynamic, or they have received a dynamic bunch of young children, which are not so much working in line anymore with what is suspected from them. So I think especially for the teachers which are working in very difficult conditions in certain parts of United States, in the Bronx, and in with children which are prone to be taken away from their rights to be able to function as a normal citizen. And then you have the other side of the world, which there is no structure for them to be educated. So for all those who took up that responsibility to teach, I think we can put the teachers in our, and I'm meaning then towards those specific teachers which are suffering and trying to deal. England is another one. England is also a very problematic educational system with a lot of problem children. So the teachers really need to bite their teeth to stay on as teachers. And then we have the nurses. We have a lot of groups that we can give generously from our side. Are you there, Rick?
Yes, hello. Is there something you'd like me to type in here?
The teachers.
Okay.
They have a rough time. They always have had a rough time.
I'll say my parents were teachers.
So you know what I am talking about.
Yeah, especially in the older days, they didn't pay teachers all that well, and it was more for the passion of teaching, and rather than a true job in the early days. But then in the 1960s or so, the teachers made a lot of progress in their wages, and now it's considered a job that you can actually make a living at, and it's considered at least in this area of the world where I live, I think most teachers now are regarded fairly well, but they go through a lot of hard work and hardship and spend endless hours that aren't paid, and it becomes your whole life in a way. That dedication to be a good teacher, at least. So what else can we add to that? The teachers, how can we define that a bit more?
The educational teams, no matter in what kind of education they are, maybe.
Okay. Okay. Ursula actually mentions we are happy nurses. In a way, I'm thinking, while it brought up the word nurses, I'm thinking the nurses and doctors. We had the Doctors Without Borders, who didn't really mention. We haven't really mentioned those who take care of the people of the world. Yeah, we have palliative workers. That's more for those.
Benevoles, you know, benevoles.
What?
Benevol, how you call this? Who work without asking money? Volunteers. So many.
Yeah, but I mean, even there's an echo there.
Yes, but volunteers can be everywhere and and everybody for only helping the neighbor. You know, it's silent and nobody knows about it, but they are there to help. Uh, I think so. I don't know.
How about we put silent guardian workers and volunteers of the world?
Yes, it is, of course. It's very high level denomination, but volunteers maybe they don't know that there are silent guardians and all this. They are only people, common people from the crowd who help the neighbor without knowing what he is really and what he's doing, only giving love to his neighbor. You know, we don't need to find so beautiful words. Of course, they touch the heart of people who are in it and who identify with this. But you know, here in the Campania of Vaucluse, you cannot. I must be very careful with what I'm talking to, and I'm living this, you know. But okay, I have also others uh, who are open, or and almost all people, you know. Um, it's very funny, and I'm very happy to know them because we learn so much from them. I wrote something down at the beginning, so I don't know. You know, here the Oasis Provence, is in Provence, so we are now as light voters. We are workers. We are here. It's like a spaceship, you know. You put it somewhere, and then okay, you are there and you are living there, and you come outside of what is happening around, and you see things, and you meet people. People meet you, and somebody tells me be careful because somebody will imagine that you are in a sect. Okay, right. Oh. So we need to be careful. It's my experience here. So when you meet all people as I meet now here, so you can talk with them, you can learn from them, you can give bring them to the oasis, I don't know, to have a nice moment, peaceful, and maybe they can remember how it was cool when they had their gardens, but because now they are all they and walk anymore. Some of them, it's terrible. They have 80 years and they have problems to walk, walk. They want to walk again, but they have not, you know. And then with nutrition you can give them plasma water, and I don't know what, something good food. I have chickens, I have lot of eggs, you know, good chickens from those who have many, as Caroline tells us, many I
Hey, Ursula,
yes, you
what
remember what it is, yes.
did you want to put in a wish here, a part of this wish?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
I wrote my
What would you
wish.
like to put in?
No, volunteers, volunteers. You are
Volunteers.
asking for
Okay, let's.
volunteers also, or volunteers as host, or volunteers is it's work to do, huh? Volunteer as what you want to be, what you want to do. Maybe I have here cherries now in a cherry tree. We come and pluck them up and we can eat cherries, you know? They're so good to eat and it's full of cherries. So nobody goes there. The young people don't go there to take the cherries. It's terrible. But now it's raining, so I inside. It's a little bit cold. It's warm inside. I have my ganses. I'm with in my world, you know, in my laboratory. So in my desk, and nobody comes here to hear because they're outside. It's a big place, so everybody does, but they can also help us to to take care of the vegetables, you know. It's work to give them water. It's not many water this year here, yes. I know it. We will take it. I don't know. We are arranging something to have it also from the roof, you know, to make a basin. I don't know. It's a work, but we need helpers and volunteers. So it's volunteers for me. It's the right word. I don't know what you mean all, but for me it's very important to be volunteer, even if you know don't know why you help somebody just to cross a road. For example, it's a volunteer also. There are so many blind people on the road, and all people uh, need help here. It's not good to be old in France, you know. So help people. It's for me. It's volunteer also, and I'm volunteer to help them here on this place. So if you want to help me to help them, you're welcome. If you like farmer work, I never done this. I'm new it. I'm learning so much, and but nature help you to know her, you know. She's there and she show you the way. So I'm volunteer for nature. I am volunteer. I am present.
Okay, thank you, Ursula. Volunteers. And people can, I assume people can contact Ursula through the Oasis Provence Facebook site.
Yes, of course, and there are tons there. you can stay there for free if you want to. Less like a woofer, you know. But a woofer who knowledge woofer is better than when they don't know about plasma science, you know, because it's once more a step more higher to make this work of volunteer in plasma science and in farmer workers. So be what you want to be, but be free and help others to be others, and we will help you to be yourself. You know, it's a change. You give and you take. Yes.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay, maybe we can go to the top of the list and fill in the missing parts to create that wish for all those people. Anybody, any ideas?
How do you mean fill in the details?
Yeah, we have to complete, because in the wish of what? How do we support all these individuals? We have gone through the extent to give them a professional name, or their topic they're working on, or their contribution, or their donation, or whatever they are adding to the totality to serve humanity, because somewhere, somehow, they are popping up. And when the work is good, you see it spreading. And we know these people in each of their individuality. So what can we add? Be the knowledge seekers or present in the wish.
I would like to have a thank you
And
in this
support.
wish, so that we are thankful for what all of these do.
Right. So perhaps first we could say that we recognize them, and then we have gratitude for them.
Yep.
Does this already include elevating their souls if we are thankful, or do we have to mention it expressively?
The way I would put it would be we'd recognize and have gratitude and give from our souls to the following.
I don't think we have to recognize, because the fact that they are under our wish, we have recognized them.
And is it better to have gratitude or to feel gratitude? Because I think feeling is more from my soul.
Okay, if we can speak for everyone that this is what the process is. Do we all feel gratitude? How do we? Okay, well, I'll put it in. What else? How else do we form this? Oops. So this should. Are we making the wish now, or we, the knowledge seekers, are present in the wish, and now the wish is it the wish that we feel gratitude? It's the wish. I'm not sure what we're getting to.
In gratitude.
Okay.
We
gratitude, we give from the whole.
We give from our soul.
Oh.
Usually Dr. Gatwa brings the last part of it.
Help, Dr. Gatwa, help.
We, the knowledge seekers, are present in the wish. In gratitude, we give from our soul to all these beautiful lights. Because they shine no matter where they are positioned in the work they are the small beacons of light. They are the beacons of light for all those which they take care of. I think they are the beacons of light for all that they dedicate themselves to. Can you read it, Rick?
Sure. We, the knowledge seekers, are present in the wish. In gratitude, we give from our soul to all these beautiful lights because they shine no matter where in their work they are positioned. They are the beacons of light for all that they dedicate themselves to.
Anybody, any thoughts?
Gatwa has a single word for us, farmers. And perhaps we've forgotten the farmers of the world.
Oh, from what he's talking about.
Pardon me?
Farmers is a very good idea because I know what is the work of a farmer now in my oasis, so in our oasis. So please, yes.
Right, we have the ones who are saving. Sorry, there's a big echo there. You'll have to mute your microphone when you're not speaking. Yes, we have the growers who are saving seeds and plants, but we didn't actually specify the farmers. And I was actually going to mention that at one point because that had come to mind. As I spoke to my farmer friend the other day, there's actually a very high rate of suicide in farmers. And they have they need our support because of this high rate of suicide. They get, they say, and it's true whether it's in a developed country or an undeveloped country. China has a huge problem with suicide in farmers. They're drinking pesticide in order to commit suicide and this kind of thing. And in Canada, it's a very big issue. And they are starting to have support networks now, considering support networks for farmers, because farmers are usually independent and they're very lonely. It's a lonely job. You're out on tractors and equipment and animals for 12 to 14 hours a day, quite often. And it's intensive, hard work, and you're exhausted, and you're still alone. You have no one to relay your problems to, and so on. So it's become a big issue, and it ends up with depression and so on. Plus, they're dealing with a lot of toxic chemicals and solvents and that sort of thing that can affect their thinking process. And so farmers do need a lot of support for all over the world. They're undergoing a lot of stress, both financially, physically, emotionally. It's a tough work. So I guess we can just put farmers in is good enough, I guess, and includes all aspects of farming. So we want to define that more. Thank you, Gato, for that. Okay, Carolina, are you happy with the way the wish is formulated here?
Yeah. I'm just asking if anybody knows how to position it in a better shape or form. Because in so many ways, if you are familiar with the introduction video from Mr. Keshe, he refers to the messiahs. You are all messiahs once you take up this kind of responsibility for the better good of man. You are becoming like a beacon. You become that light that shines, that touches so many more. That's why I am putting it in this way of the sentence. Because once they start a project, even the guy with the dogs, it just keeps on gathering more and more and more animals, and he doesn't want to stop, and he doesn't want to limit. And by the time he wanted to give up, his light of his endurance and as we call his sincerity, he started receiving from all over the world. Small donations that he could buy food, he received food. But this is happening in all these, what we named below. They receive a gift back for them being a light, them being a beacon for so many desperate seeking for help and support. So it's not a one-way traffic. It's also the gratitude they receive from whoever they touch, even if it's a small animal. That's why I said, you see the soul when you don't crush even a small ant. That's the beauty of this whole unconditionally giving. If everybody is agree with this way it has been put down. And it's not because we're going to close this part of this wish. We can at any time go back to it to extend the list of what we have found out, because now we have put attention to it, and extend the list. So I think this will be a forever growing, beautiful wish, which will not stay in a static position of just those few, because a lot of you, it might just not pop into the head now, which should belong in this list. But I think this wish will still keep on growing in the near future, And as this goes public, maybe you can put a note, please add below, and give them a section, add your contribution of people that should be taken part in this list. And then we can bring it next Tuesday on the platform, and then we can start adding them in the right way to this wish. That not only means that we are working in a close group, but the ones which are listening to this One World, One Race, One public platform, they become also contributors to this beautiful wish. And that's how you create interaction and the awareness that there are much more people. There are a lot of people which are working in preservation of knowledge, of history. Historians, they are so important because they keep valuable information from the past to come to light, to educate, to see and shed a light on the past. So that's another one that you can add, which is the historians. Even if it's preserving an old painting or repairing an old painting, or the ones which go and excavate and dig up beautiful parts of the past. But that takes skill.
That's the ones that made the biggest difference in the missing women inquiry and in the residential schools inquiries, because the historians, and many of them have been Aboriginal because they've gotten themselves educated, gotten into the system, found out how to access all the records and so on, and they've become historians, and now they've shaped their past and are proud of it and are showing the way it really was, not our modern preconceptions of the way we think it was. And this has brought some real new truth as part of the Truth and Reconciliation inquiry that they had before. This is part of the transparency and truth that's coming into the world now, because it's now becoming locked down in records, and for everyone to see that, you know, here's the pictures and the story and the other characters that were involved, the countries that were involved, the various processes happening at that time, and all of that gets documented so that it can't be so easily altered, let's say, by those who would like to promote one aspect or another. The truth comes out, and that's the beauty, I think, of the way the world's going. It's harder and harder to lie about not only what's happening in the present, but what happened in the past. So the colonial roots are now becoming very obvious, and they're shown both in our present tense, where the government's making decisions that are obviously not correct for all the population. They're correct from the colonialist point of view, from a government's, but that's the old perspective. They need to change in certain things, but also the older knowledge that we've carried, that we our school books and so on will be rewritten with this new knowledge and new work, that through the work that these historians have been doing.
You can also add historians, and I think the word is preservers.
Preservers of anything in particular, or just leave it as preservers? You like preservers of cultures or preservers of language?
I think preservers, it can go into any kind, because it's a nameless list or an endless list. of people which are looking after things not to get lost. That's why my mind went to historians, and also the ones which, once the historians have discovered it, then the preservers are coming up, because they are making sure it doesn't get lost, or it can stay in the state they found it. So that really is requiring a lot of dedication.
Okay, we have another category that I'm not sure if we've really covered, which is the basic. We talked about the Doctors Without Borders and some scientists and medical sort of with bees, insects, birds, and animals. But what about the doctors and nurses who labor so hard and long to for the health of people, and as Emmanuel mentions, the care workers for old people and persons with special needs. So in a way, they're often nurses or
what if we put it as the people which are in any kind of nursing?
Nursing and caregiving?
Yeah, because a family member is also a nursing partner.
And that would include hospitals and doctors as well.
Nursing and caregiving, it doesn't matter where you do or how you do it, those categories fall under that. Because the one who looks after somebody on the street is the same nursing and caregiving. It doesn't need to be specific a doctor or a nurse to do so. Because anyone who takes that kind of caring under to their wings to look after another, there are a lot of people. I have seen the documentaries in Japan and China. The students which are taking care of their parents and their grandparents, and they wash them and they feed them, and they still go to school, and they come back and they start the whole. These are, in a true sense, also nursing, because there is nobody else to look after them, because a lack of population that can take care of that kind of. So that's why I wanted to keep it neutral, so that all the ones which are nursing and caregiving, that they all fall under this kind of category.
Perfect.
And that is also the beauty. It doesn't need to be a human being. It can also be an animal, because I saw, and it came back quite a few times now, on Facebook, there is a little Chinese boy. I think maybe he's 3-4 years old maximum, if he is that old, and he's feeding with a little stick from a plate, and they sit there and he's feeding them. It's so beautiful. That tiny little boy, which is just feeding a few orphaned birds. It's amazing. He's also a nurse in so many ways. And that's why I said my point, that you cover them all if you don't put them in a category. So we'll see how next week our list will be growing. And the beauty is that we start putting them under a wish. We start putting them under the gift of elevating, so that they get a boost from us. They receive our gift. And with that gift, then they can do more. And also the ones which are taking these gifts in giving, they need to be strengthened as well. We always say that the family member who sits next to somebody who's long-term sick needs to be released from its duty on a regular time so that he can recharge himself as well. Because it's the ones which are close to the person in giving, which are giving from their physicality and also from their soul through their way of conduct. But they also, that's why I put it down today under this kind of more totality wish, that we can feed those souls which are there day in, day out, sometimes in not such comfortable positions. And a lot need to fight and stand up for what they're trying to preserve or look after and keep it going. And in this way, we give unconditionally. Anybody, any hints for the top sentence, how we opened it up at the beginning? Or if it can stay the way it is?
There's something about the last part of the sentence doesn't quite make sense here. They're the beacons of light for all that they dedicate themselves to, and ends up in to, and it doesn't seem correct, and it even has a little red mark under it for some reason.
They are the beacons of light for all that they dedicate themselves to serve.
Okay, there you go.
We, the knowledge seekers, are present in the wish. In gratitude, we give from our soul to all these beautiful lights. If you can remove because, in gratitude, we give from our soul to all these beautiful lights. They shine no matter where in their work they are positioned. In the line of work that they are positioned. In gratitude, we give from our soul to all these beautiful lights. They shine no matter where in their line of work they are positioned. They shine no matter where in their line of work.
Maybe the other way around, where they are positioned in their line of work.
Yes, it was just going through my head.
Okay.
In gratitude, we give from our soul to all these beautiful lights. They shine no matter where they are positioned in their line of work. They are the beacons of light for all that they dedicate themselves to serve.
It's a little awkward on that last sentence.
Yes, I know.
I think you can clean it up somehow there.
Yep. What if we say they are serving as beacons of light in full dedication?
They are the beacons of light in full dedication.
They serve as beacons of light serve as beacons of light in their dedication. I'm gonna start again, it will come. In gratitude, we give from our soul to all these beautiful lights. They shine, no matter where they are positioned in their line of work. They serve unconditionally as a beacon of light and in full dedication. Serving.
Serving again. They serve unconditionally as beacons of light and in full dedication.
In gratitude, we give from our soul to all these beautiful lights. They shine no matter where they are positioned in the line of work. They serve unconditionally as beacons of light in full dedication. I think that will be good. I'm gonna check the chat room because I saw it flinking up. Alexander said something, lights for all whom they dedicate to serve.
That's nice.
It's in the chat.
That's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
They serve as, well, do you want beacons of light or lights?
Just 1 second. Lights for all whom they dedicate to serve. That's what I can.
Or just lights and not the beacon, maybe. Or do you want beacon in there?
Not necessarily, no.
That's nice. They serve unconditionally as lights for all whom, I think it's all who. Is it who or whom? All whom they dedicate to serve.
I think you can remove. I think you can say they serve unconditionally as light.
Sorry, you broke up there, as lights.
1 second, I need to restart to recap. In gratitude, we give from our soul to all these beautiful lights. They shine no matter where they are positioned in their line of work. They serve unconditionally as lights. They serve unconditionally. What if we say as beautiful lights to all whom they dedicate their love or servitude?
Oh, you can't have served twice there. It's they either are lights for all they dedicate to serve, or they serve unconditionally as lights.
What if we say they serve? Wacht, hè?
We are here to serve, so it's okay.
We don't need to use dedicate because they serve unconditionally is actually covering it. In gratitude, we give from our soul to all these beautiful lights. That's an important part, yeah? Mm-hmm. They shine no matter where they are positioned in their line of work. They serve unconditionally as lights for all. It doesn't matter to where they serve unconditionally. I think that the shorter we go, the better we go.
Yeah, shorter we go, the better we go.
Yeah. Can you read it for me, please?
Okay. We, the knowledge seekers, are present in the wish. In gratitude, we give from our soul to all these beautiful lights. They shine no matter where they are positioned in their line of work. They serve unconditionally as lights for all. street workers and social workers, people who support animal shelter and rescue, people who set up orphanages and protection for children, Doctors Without Borders, Médecins Sans Frontières, scientists, medical and environmental protectors of bees, insects, birds, and animals, groups and groundskeepers and growers who are saving seeds and plants, trees, and other vegetation, supporters of the families of missing and murdered women and children of the world, early warning scientists and disaster relief personnel, palliative workers, immigrant rescue boat operators, silent guardian workers of the world, the teachers and educational workers, volunteers, farmers, historians and preservers, nursing and caregiving. And please add your contribution of people who should be on this list.
I am present.
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 Flint, can I have a copy in my chat room somewhere of this wish so I can circulate it out? Thank you.
Yes, sure.
Okay, I've saved the changes, so it's now becoming part of the permanent record in the KF Wikipedia. Anybody can go there to the public wishes icon in the bottom of the first page of the KF Wikipedia and click on that and go to any particular month from there of the public wishes. And if you go to the latest one in the June and click on June, you'll find this list.
You should probably put a date in there.
I've got the date at the top here. Whoops. I did. I guess it disappeared. Good point. So I'll put it up here instead of at the bottom because it'll be added to as we go. I'll have to re-edit here. Okay, thanks, Flint. Good idea. Let's leave the brackets off. Oops. All right, very good. I see also, just note there's a number of people have put in I am present in the chat and on the live stream as well. Thank you everybody for your input and contribution there. Dean has his hand up. I think he wants to say something. Is that true, Dean?
Hello.
Hello.
Peace be with everyone. Artists and people who are involved, building, the builders, they so need, as everyone else, to be under the cover of this. And then I'd add one other, I'd say the creators, because there hasn't been a project that I've ever been involved in agriculture that I was involved in the application of the arts and the ways of agriculture growing things. But like the O. Henry peach, O. Henry had an orchard, and he went out into the orchard, and there was a tree that showed up in the orchard that he didn't know how it got there because it just appeared. And he took the peach to his wife, and it was the best peach she'd ever had. She goes, "Oh, Henry." And that's how it came into being. Well, when I was growing something here in the valley in hot weather and it couldn't grow, a culture came out of my grow room that got put into a international culture collection because it was the highest growing strain of this particular fungus that had ever happened. So the artists and the creators, and we're all creators, right? But anyway, I think those people need to be put in this wish because it's the artists, earth without art is and the musicians, the composers, those people who are bringing about, the healing of mankind through those, the visual and the auditory and the vibrational arts. And with that, once again, thanks. Peace out.
Thank you, Dean. That was a good addition. I'll put in artists, musicians, artists, musicians, and creators. So that could include audio, video, and other types of creators as well. Put in long hours and hard work to present shows such as this, which reminds me we should wrap up soon here. But is there any other suggestions or additions to the list? Or shall we complete for today?
I think it's a beautiful closure with such a beautiful long wish, and it will keep on growing. So if we are going to close, if there are no more questions to be asked, thank you, my team, hosts and co-hosts and knowledge seekers, for all your beautiful contribution for this beautiful session of the One Nation, One Race, One Planet presentation. And it's the 80th, as Rick said, 80. It's an infinity loop. And thank you so much for all your work. See you tomorrow in the privates, and then Thursday morning with Mr. Keshe for a new adventure of science. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carolina, for your hard work and dedication here at the One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace Workshop Series up to number 80. 80th One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace for Tuesday, June 11th, 2019. Thanks once again, everyone, for participating and attending today on all of our platforms. Thank you, Flint, for working in the background very hard there. And see you all next time around.
Hello. We are the Keshe Foundation. Our mission is to bring peace on Earth and join humanity with the universal community. We wish and work to bring man as equal to all beings in the universe. By teaching plasma science and technology equally to everyone, no one is left out and no one is abused due to lack of knowledge. By donating to us, you can help achieve this goal. keshfoundation.org/donate.
Plasma products found at keshfoundation.org/store. Soothing, reusable plasma eye and migraine mask. Eliminate eye fatigue and relieve stress in eye area. European certified medical device. Massaging plasma insoles. Bring comfort back to your feet and energize your legs. European CE certified medical device. Antiseptic plasma liquid hand soap. Promotes well-being and relaxation with protective plasma formula. CE certified. One Soul Plasma T-shirt. GAN's formula within the symbols and stripes brings mind, soul, and body into balance. European certified. Pain Relief Pen. Emits a concentrated plasma field at point of pain, efficient up to 3 centimeters below the skin. CE certified. The Magrav's Energizer and Alkalizer raises pH and energizes water through magnetic and gravitational fields. CE certified medical device. Pain Relief Pad, a result of years of research in nanoplasma technology with magnetic and gravitational fields. CE certified medical device. Visit the online store at keshfoundation.org/store or find a distributor near you. Tax and shipping not included.